In America, there is a two-party system. There are two political parties, represented in the American Congress and that have held the American presidency since 1860. Well, no, since 1853, these two parties have either held the presidency. Both these parties have lasted throughout the majority of the history of the United States, but there are only two parties. There's been no significant third party in the United States since, with the exception of Ross Perot's Reform Party in the 1990s, which wasn't really a proper political party, it was only a vehicle for him to try and become president, and George Wallace's racist party in the 1960s, and Strom Thurmond's racist party in the 1940s. The last political party that has actually been a powerful political party in America was Theodore Roosevelt's Progressive Party in 1912. Since then, it's only been the two-party system, without exception, the two-party system holding the presidency and representation. But it seems a little bit strange. There's only two parties, that there's not a third party, that no matter how hard you try, you're never actually going to have a third party representing America. And the benefits of a two-party system are that it's stable. One of those parties is going to have a majority. One of those parties is going to have the most votes, except that isn't usually the case because there are small minority parties that try to run, like the Libertarian Party and the Green Party and the Constitution Party. But apart from that, there are no real third parties that could feasibly take control of American politics. In having only two political parties, though, it does present some problems. For example, that if both parties are led by people that people don't like, if they're sort of both really, really bad candidates, then they're going to have to vote for a bad candidate. If they're both pretty poor leaders, then they're going to have to vote for a pretty poor leader because there isn't really a third alternative, which is quite depressing. And the other thing is that both parties agree on certain policy matters. There's little chance of it getting changed because those two parties are going to dominate political debate and you're going to have to take sides with one of them. Is it time for a third party in American politics? Is it time that there could be a proper third party rather than these fringe groups, and a third party that doesn't represent an extremist view? A lot of people that would be considered founding fathers of America, most notably Thomas Jefferson, hoped that there would never be political parties in America. They hoped that it would just be bunches of independent politicians who would come together and rally around certain candidates. It's a bit of a utopian view, but it's quite an important one. And the alternative is that there's lots of political parties, which there isn't, because partly because of the American political system, partly because the American mindset. Americans like stability. Most Americans, not all Americans, like to have a stable government. They like to have a popular leader. They like to have somebody they like. They like to just be able to get on with what they're doing, and it is really no different from a dictatorship if you think about it. You just want to mind your own business and you don't care who's in charge. But if they had lots of political parties, if we had a different election system where any party gets equal representation dependent on votes rather than it being from an electoral college, then it could be quite interesting.